There's been a lot of discussion recently about whether Malaysia could overtake Japan economically. It's a big claim, and understandably, one that raises eyebrows. So let's clarify what this really means. Hi everyone, I am Jason Kang, and I talk about travels and economics and sometimes geopolitics. When people say Malaysia will overtake Japan, they're not referring to total economic size, technological superiority, or global influence. What they're referring to is a specific measure, GDP per capita, that is the average economic output or income per person. As of 2024, Malaysia's nominal GDP per capita is estimated at around 12,000 US dollars, while Japan's is roughly 32,500 US dollars. That's still a significant gap. However, what makes this conversation relevant is the rate of growth. Malaysia has been growing at around 4 to 5% annually, while Japan's growth has remained sluggish, hovering between 0.5 to 1% per year due to demographic and structural constraints. If this trend continues for the next decade, Malaysia's GDP per capita could catch up with or even slightly exceed Japan's by around 2035. That's where the statement comes from. It's important to note that this prediction assumes Malaysia maintains consistent economic performance, while Japan remains relatively stagnant. It does not account for major global shocks, shifts in policy, or unexpected structural changes. Japan's economic challenges are well documented. It has a shrinking population, one of the world's highest old age dependency ratios, and limited room for productivity gains without deeper reform. Its economy has matured, and the space for rapid growth is limited. Malaysia, on the other hand, is still in a phase where it can grow faster, what economists call catch-up phase. The country has a younger population, a growing middle class, and strong investment in export-driven industries like semiconductors, electronics, and oil and gas. But none of this implies that Malaysia will surpass Japan in terms of technological sophistication or total wealth. The overtaking being referred to here is purely statistical. Let's not forget that GDP per capita is an average. It doesn't reflect income inequality, social mobility, infrastructure quality, healthcare access, or innovation levels. A country can have a high GDP per capita but still face challenges in other areas of development, even if Malaysia's per capita figure matches Japan's by 2035. It doesn't mean the quality of life or economic resilience will be the same. It simply means that on average, the output per person is comparable. That's a milestone worth acknowledging, but it shouldn't be overstated. For Malaysia to hit that target, it needs to stay on course. That means continued investment in infrastructure, education, innovation, and governance. It also means strengthening institutions and ensuring that growth is not only fast, but also sustainable. At the same time, Japan would need to continue on its current path of low growth and limited structural reform. And even then, the gap closing would be on a narrow statistical basis, not a broader economic one. The idea that Malaysia might overtake Japan in GDP per capita should not be viewed as a competition. It's more meaningful to see it as a signal that Malaysia is progressing. It's moving closer to becoming a high-income nation, a goal that has been part of its national economic agenda for decades. Japan will remain a major global economic power. It still leads in technology, industrial depth, research capabilities, and innovation ecosystems. These are areas where Malaysia is still catching up. But before we wrap up, it's also useful to look at another country in the region, South Korea. About 40 years ago, South Korea and Malaysia had similar economic standings. Today, South Korea's GDP per capita is over 35,000 US dollar, and it's a global leader in semiconductors, consumer electronics, and innovation. The reason South Korea surged ahead wasn't just due to growth, it was how that growth was managed. It invested heavily in education, research, and long-term industrial strategy. Malaysia's path doesn't need to copy South Korea's exactly, but it does show what's possible when structural reforms, institutional strength, and national vision come together. So, can Malaysia overtake Japan? In terms of GDP per capita, possibly yes, but only if growth remains consistent and external conditions remain favorable. It's a positive sign, but it shouldn't be misunderstood. This isn't a story of dominance or rivalry. It's a story of convergence. And if it happens, it reflects Malaysia's ongoing economic development, not Japan's decline. Thanks for watching. If you found this explanation helpful, feel free to like and share. And let me know what you think. Can Malaysia sustain this trajectory? Leave your thoughts.